My wife and I bought our dream ranch 3 years ago in a quiet corner of Wyoming. 120 acres of rolling hills, scattered pine, and the kind of deep silence you can only find miles from the nearest subdivision. It was a place to unplug, a place to get away from the grind, a place, we thought, where nobody would care what color our door was or how tall our grass grew. Then came the HOA, specifically Karen Tisdale. See, while most of our land was wide-open ranch territory, one corner of it happened to abut a cul-de-sac from a recently built ranch lifestyle development, Golden Mesa Estates. The HOA there prided itself on their Western-inspired elegance, which translated to faux barns, aggressively enforced rules, and a neighborhood newsletter longer than some college dissertations. Karen was the self-declared president for life of the HOA. She had a clipboard, a whistle, and the energy of someone whose personality revolved entirely around saying no. We'd barely been there a month when she first showed up at the gate, demanding to inspect our fencing. "You border Golden Mesa. That means you're subject to our covenant." I blinked. "We're not in your subdivision. We're on a separate deed, different zoning." She narrowed her eyes like she'd just smelled something unpleasant. "You're adjacent. That qualifies for shared visual interest clauses." I laughed. "That's not a thing. Ma'am, we're zoned AG. Your HOA rules don't apply." She left in a huff. But that was just the beginning. Fast forward to spring. My wife, Colonel Rachel Monroe, had just returned from a 3-month deployment, part of her duty with the USAF Global Strike Command. Yes, that global strike, the one that oversees the nation's nuclear arsenal. She's one of the highest-ranking officers in her wing, calm under pressure, sharper than steel, and absolutely unbothered by suburban drama. Karen didn't know any of that. One sunny morning, while I was in town running errands, Rachel drove her truck up to the ranch gates. Karen was apparently already there, taking photos of what, who knows, and decided to confront her. Security camera footage, which we later shared with the sheriff, showed the following: Karen blocking the gate with her SUV, standing in front of my wife's truck, and shouting, "You don't live here! This property is in violation, and until the board investigates, you're not allowed past this fence." Rachel rolled down the window and said calmly, "Ma'am, you need to move. This is my property. You're trespassing." Karen shouted, "You're not listed as the primary owner. Only your husband is on the HOA mailing list. That means I can remove you." Big mistake. Rachel showed her military ID. Karen squinted at it and said, and I quote, "Nice cosplay. The sheriff will sort you out." Then she called 911, reporting that a woman in stolen military gear was trying to break into private land. When I got the call from the deputy, I was stunned. I rushed home, and by the time I arrived, Rachel was standing beside our truck, calmly chatting with 2 very sheepish-looking deputies. Karen, meanwhile, was being questioned for filing a false police report. Rachel handed over her credentials, the deed with both our names, and a copy of the non-HOA parcel designation clearly outlined by the county. One deputy took me aside and whispered, "Sir, I think she just called the cops on a nuclear launch commander." I nodded. Yeah, she probably should have just stuck to landscaping. Things spiraled for Karen fast. The sheriff's department filed a formal warning against her for misuse of emergency services. Our lawyer sent her and the HOA a cease and desist letter with an affidavit from the county confirming our property had never been and could never be under HOA control. We filed a civil complaint for trespassing, harassment, and slander. And when word got around that Karen had tried to evict a colonel from her own ranch, the rest of the Golden Mesa HOA quietly voted to remove her from the board. One resident left a note in our mailbox that read, "Didn't know your wife ran Stratcom. Respect. Karen won't be bothering anyone again." Karen eventually moved. Her house went up for sale that summer. The listing carefully avoided any mention of views of neighboring ranchland. Meanwhile, Rachel? She goes riding with the dogs most mornings now. Peaceful, relaxed. And sometimes, she wears her uniform just to wave at the new neighbors.